Before we begin, we would like to say that, in our opinion, what follows is not suitable for children, or for those of you who are of a Marxist or misandrist disposition.
Oh no.
Oh, for God's sake!
Piss off!
Hello, Grumpies. Marxists hate the monarchy, which is the best reason for keeping it. Liz too is gone, and God Save the King instead of God Save the Queen is going to take some getting used to. Going from 70 years of Liz 2 to Charlie 3 is a bit like going from 7 years of Tom Baker to Peter Blanderson. If you were 5 when Tom started as the Doctor, by the time you were 12, he was all you'd ever known. And then he's gone and there's a new bloke in his place. Changing doctors is a bit like changing monarchs. The incumbent changes, but the institution remains. You may prefer one over another, but what's important is the idea behind it. That's the basis of its appeal. That's why it endures. That's why we value it. And then some dickhead comes along and fucks it all up. Give me a monarchy over a republic any day. The advantage of a monarchy isn't just stability and unity in the face of uncertainty and change. The reason our constitutional monarchy works, despite the best efforts of the Lefty Daleks, is that Parliament, left and right, is answerable to it. Without it, all you have are Dalek Jobsworths, killjoys, bureaucrats, and Prime Minister Davros. It's one of the reasons why we didn't go down the same revolutionary route as Marxist Russia or Jacobin France. The reason the Marxist Daleks don't like history is that they're usually on the wrong side of it. The British Empire was, on balance, arguably the most benign in history. If it wasn't, why are so many of Britain's former colonies still part of the Commonwealth? I suspect the jocks aren't anywhere near as Republican as Nicola McStarlin likes to make them out to be. Do the jocks really want President Sturgeon instead of King Charles? It was Jimmy VI of Scotland, after all, who took over from Liz I in 1603, meaning Jock and Tommy had a Scottish king, long before Scotland and England became Britain in 1707. Monarchy helps keep totalitarianism at bay, and we all know how power mad the Lefty Daleks are. The reason the Marxist Mark III travel machines of the anti-Semitic UK Labour Party and the American Undemocratic Party want to rewrite real history as critical race theory history is this. If you control the perception of the past, you can set the direction of the future. And there are only two possible futures: free market competition or communist control. Take your pick. The British monarchy endures for several reasons. For one thing, we tried republicanism and we got rid of Charlie I, only to realise we didn't prefer Oliver Cromwell after all. That's why we brought Charlie II back. Then there's little things like Magna Carta, the Great Reform Act of 1832, which gave those of us who weren't part of the aristocracy the vote for the first time. Or the fact that we got rid of slavery before the Americans did, peacefully and without a fucking civil war. And let's not forget Christian Zionism, the evangelism that piggybacked on imperialism, or leading the Industrial Revolution, or the fact that we stood up to the Nazis when the bloody French gave in, and the royal family didn't run away to Canada, but stayed here to tough it out with their subjects. And while we're on the subject, the reason we keep harking back to the Second World War, to D-Day, the Blitz, the Battle of Britain, Bletchley Park and Churchill and all that is very simple. That was our last national act of sacrifice in service of something more important than ourselves. After that, it was Suez, exit from empire, and the self-doubt that led us into the clutches of the EU. Liz too was a living link to that generation and time in our history. Yes, she lived a life of privilege, but do you really think the Socialist Politburo don't? The privileges of rank come at the cost of duty and responsibility. Sure, you can be king and have all that goes with it, but here's the deal. You don't belong to yourself. you belong to us. That's the job description. Liz got it. I reckon Charlie gets it. And from what I can see, Wills and Kate get it too. Shame you can't say the same about his idiot brother. Contrast the conduct of Liz too. Never complain, never explain, with the self-centered narcissism of Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Hollywoke. God, it's like Edward and Mrs. Simpson all over again. If they wanted out of the firm, they could at least have had the decency to wait until Liz too was gone. But no, instead they did what they wanted to do, because it's all about them, and totally disrespected her Madge. As far as the grumpy old fan is concerned, the pair of them can fuck off back to America on the first plane out of here and never come back. Selfish bastards. Speaking of selfish bastards, we now know whose names need to go on the shit list. Jackie Pickett, Kevin Bridges, Michael Sheen, Kahinda Andrews, Uju Amya, the New York Times and Celtic Football Club. Scumbags, the lot of them. The affection the majority of the British people have for the monarchy, for their king or queen, is affection, loyalty and support that no president of Britain could ever hope to have. Monarchy protects us from the hereditary political dynasties that have dominated and afflicted public life in the United States. But of course, there's no hypocrisy in attacking the enduring British monarchy, whilst simultaneously having an equivalent American aristocracy of cringeworthy transitory celebrity. Don't talk to me about unearned privilege. Fuck off. Support for the monarchy should never be taken for granted, but it runs deep. Would a Britain without all the pageantry of our history, which we still do better than anyone else, really be a better place? Really? You can kiss the tourism money goodbye for a start. The political and economic truth is that no matter where you draw the line, there's always going to be some poor bastard on the wrong side of it. The alternative to the monarchy is a Republic of the Daleks, a free speech free zone, cowering under the control of cancel culture. If that's the sort of Orwellian Britain you want, be careful what you wish for. God bless the Queen. God save the King. And if you are a Republican ratbag, go fuck yourself.
If you're a lefty and have been affected by anything in this video,
Fuck off!